Hey, what's up out there in YouTube land? Straight talking Fedora chick coming at ya. And today I will be pondering an important theme in this day and age where social media dominates. Education versus entertainment. Before I go on, just a reminder, I am not a certified or licensed mental health care practitioner of any stripe, nor do I seek to be. I don't even play one on radio. I'm just an ordinary chick trying to raise awareness in the best way I know how, just as the Rewired soul does, by putting my face and voice out there. This will be part 1 of 3 of Has the Rewired Soul sold his soul in order to exponentially grow his channel the way that he had. This is a response video to Dr. Todd Grande's video uploaded last week titled Rewired Soul Channel Criticism, Education or Entertainment. I will say that Dr. Grande was balanced in his video, though I do take issue with something he said on the topic of money and accessibility or lack thereof for clients, patients seeking help with their own mental health issues. That will be part 2, which I hope to upload later tonight or tomorrow morning. To be fair, I did a quick Google search on Dr. Todd Grande, as there are far too many charlatans and phonies and pop science and psychologies on the intertubes these days. According to his LinkedIn page, Dr. Grande is a mental health counselor specializing in survivors of abuse in recovery, as well as an associate professor at Wilmington University in Delaware. However, Chris Butte, aka the Rewired Soul, on the other hand, is not a licensed or certified professional, and he does disclose that in his videos. I stumbled onto Chris's channel around this time last year for the first time. He had just over 1,000 subscribers, and it had taken him months to get there. Already commendable in such a short period of time, where other YouTubers, such as yours truly, is still trying to figure out how to grow my own channel. Chris came off, and he still does, to be fair, as friendly, likable, and caring. He definitely has the personality and capability of engaging his audience. That in and of itself is a skill that many do not possess. I am still working on that, and I really hope I can get there. Chris is well-intentioned, but I find now that his channel has devolved into a soap opera of the who's who of YouTube stardom. This is one of the issues Dr. Grande takes issues with. The link to his video will be in the description box below in its entirety. In part 1 of this video mini-series, you know who's becoming a soap opera, I will be delving into just that. Before I go on, I liked and subscribed to Chris, aka the Rewired Soul's channel, because he spoke of his own experiences with mental health issues as well as recovering from drug addiction. Unlike most videos I've seen on YouTube from mental health professionals, Chris puts a more human aspect to mental health awareness. It's something I hope to be able to do myself. Still trying to find what works and what doesn't. So I understand the challenge all too well. I also understand YouTubers like Chris and myself are competing against millions of YouTube videos out there, many of just ordinary people who just want their voice heard. However, as of late, while Chris has gotten about 100 times more subscribers and increased his viewership substantially in just a year, I have to wonder if he indeed sold his soul. Has he lost what his channel's raison d'etre was originally meant to be? It's one thing to change directions of a channel. I am doing it too. Personally, I think, or at least hope, I can do this without stooping to the lowest common denominator. Sorry, Chris, I feel you have done just that. As well, I also find that Chris has become a little more preachy when he talks about these younger YouTubers who appear to be train wrecks in front of a camera. And Dr. Grande appears to think so too, pretty much. I also believe there is indeed a fine line between entertainment and education, whether we are discussing mental health or nutrition and fitness, or even something as simple as DIY housekeeping hacks. The line often gets blurred. Is that a good thing? Well, let's examine this. First, let's take a look at an early clip of Dr. Grande's video, shall we?
There with Permink. So what we see here in general with Rewired Soul is there's a lot of criticism of famous people. And I say famous, but really I guess sort of famous, or maybe famous to a small population. So these people on YouTube and other people popular on social media that appeal probably to a younger crowd, that may be considered famous to a younger crowd. But to me, I don't know really who any of them are. When I look at Chris's channel, I recognize maybe 2 or 3 of the people that he's criticized across hundreds of videos. And what he's really doing here is kind of looking at these people and their behavior and connecting that to mental health topics. And this is one of my criticisms. This is where it gets a little tricky.
Yep, agreed, Dr. Todd. It is tricky. Chris these days, after his signature opening of...
What is up, everybody? This is Chris from the Rewired Soul, where we talk about the problem, but focus on the solution.
Oh, boy.
And if you're new to
Nowadays, I'm not really sure he talks about the solution, but he sure likes to focus on the problems he sees with these YouTubers solely by viewing their on-camera antics. To me, Chris, before he went all soap opera, his videos were a great way to raise awareness. I know that resonated with me because I have so many of these issues in common with him. Yes, including recovery. Myself, I am 20 years clean after several years of putting cocaine and speed up my nose. I understand all too well the struggle, sometimes not relapsing. But in my case, as the years go by, it's easier and easier to keep that drug life in the past. Another thing Chris and I have in common is the struggle with being overweight and trying to lose that weight and keeping it off. Again, something else many of us can relate to, especially with the obesity epidemic. He adopted a vegetarian diet that seems to work with him. I myself went from vegetarian to vegan, which I've been happy about. There are other things in common too. Surely he has resonated with others as well, just like myself. As for the current direction his channel has taken, he seems to do this under the guise of using members of the YouTube community to bring awareness to mental health. But is he really? If that really is indeed his goal, Chris, sorry, but you're failing, pal. Oh yeah, sure, he has succeeded at growing his channel exponentially, but in my humble opinion, he failed at the actual mission when he first started out the channel, which was, I assume, to bring awareness and by speaking of his own experiences, trials, and tribulations. At least I thought as many of his original followers and subs, that was his mission. I have often heard Chris himself say along the lines that what he was doing before, talking about mental health the way that he had, was not gaining views or traction. I can buy that to a degree. However, I have to ask if his bringing up YouTube drama is causing more harm to the cause of raising awareness than good. I have not watched any of these larger YouTubers that Chris likes to focus on these days, but from what I hear or read, it appears that many of them, at least on camera or online, are dysfunctional. Probably even exaggerating their own issues, at least visually. I would hazard a guess that at least some of them on their videos are actually reinforcing the stereotype many in the public square has of those with addictions or mental health illness. I know that when I first started this channel, I wanted to put my face and voice out there to attempt to break the stereotypes many have of those with mental health issues. That not all of us are train wrecks. Yes, we probably were in our lives, but who hasn't? Even those who have not been diagnosed with mental illness who seem to lead normal lives. We're simply ordinary people who happen to have had a different life experience as well as being wired a little bit differently. Granted, that likely isn't so sexy, but it's crucial. At least to me anyway, and I believe to many people, including many of Chris's subscribers or former subscribers. I wanted to show that people like myself, and Chris for that matter, are more than our addictions and our diagnoses, whatever they may be. It is also why I post videos talking about my struggles with weight loss and sustaining it, or questioning whether or not I should throw in the towel with my writing, or my journey as a newbie vegan who wants to help others who may be interested in adapting the lifestyle. Bringing these people up all the time and getting preachy with them, or saying this and that relationship is toxic, or so and so shouldn't enable Jane Doe, etc., I think is doing more of a disservice. One particular example stands out for me. Chris uploaded a video regarding Kalel, a YouTuber with over 1 million subscribers. I watched that video because I used to follow her when she talked about veganism on her channel. Long after she left the vegan lifestyle, I unsubscribed to her channel. Recently, she uploaded a video about being depressed and perhaps a bit lonely. Personally, I did not find anything particularly alarming about her video, at least not as how Chris's thumbnail for this video suggested. I have my own ideas about her, but I'm not going to get into that today. Maybe he goes a little too far in injecting his views on what symptomology these larger YouTubers may or may not have. Something else Chris and others might consider. Once again with feeling. Things, particularly in social media land, are more often than not what they appear to be. What appears toxic or dysfunctional on screen may or may not reflect the reality of their lives off camera. He speculates about their addictions. Maybe they do have addictions, I don't know. As mentioned, I don't follow them. They too have to keep current with their channels to maintain their following after all. Not saying I agree with it, in fact I don't. Not my thing, which is why I do not follow them and never will. I mean, what do you or anyone else in social media land really know about these people? In the next clip, Dr. Todd explains the differences between what can be determined as fact and what is pure speculation, and the issues he and I suspect other mental health care professionals have with that. Let's take a listen, shall we?
Individuals who are famous or quasi-famous or somewhat known to some people still have rights, and pointing out potential mental health symptoms for these people or anybody is really not okay. But there is here a difference between something quantifiable and concrete and something where you're making an inference, right? So for example, if some celebrity has 3 DUIs and Chris were to make a video and say that this behavior is dangerous, well, that's quantifiable and concrete. They were convicted 3 times of drinking and driving or driving under the influence. If somebody is found passed out in an alley somewhere, just unconscious in an alley, and a video is made kind of inferring they're using substances, that's a little different because we really don't know that, right? So there's a little bit of a distinction.
Exactly. Dr. Todd goes on to ask if Chris should be given some leeway here, given he is not a certified or licensed mental health care professional. In my humble opinion, if he really is seeking to educate, then no, he should not. Chris appears to want to make mental health education or providing mental health care his life's work. I believe he is going for his certification in addiction counseling or something along those lines. And personally, I wish him all the best with it. I think he'd be great at it because he can bring his own unique experiences to the profession. However, if that really is his career path, those videos he's making nowadays are most definitely not the way to go. It is definitely not the way to build a reputation unless you seek to be the next Dr. Phil and, well, unless you're discovered by somebody like Oprah Winfrey, chances of that happening are slim. So yeah, he needs to be held to account, and he needs to be more responsible with his channel. However, his channel is now entertainment, quite clearly. In my opinion, I think we can educate and entertain at the same time, and more often than not that we do, either through literature or filmmaking, or through music or art, to social media, creating YouTubes for YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. But after all, if we're educating but not engaging our audience or finding a way to resonate with them or get them to resonate with us, then who is getting educated? I think for any education, learning experience to be effective, we must learn to engage and to resonate, as I mentioned. This is a huge challenge to find balance as the lines between entertainment and educational continue to get muddy, particularly in this environment of social media. Well, that's part one, and that's it for now. Again, I hope to have part two up tonight or tomorrow sometime, where I take issue with both Dr. Grande and Chris regarding money and how most cannot seem to access help for their mental health issues, and a few hypocrisies I will point out. So you'll want to tune in for that. For now, straight talking Fedora Chick, over and out.